Climbers, you want to get to the top? Truth is, you need to sleep your way there. We're spilling the beans on today's episode, so listen up. Johnny, do your thing.
Welcome to the Climb! This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. That's what you're going to need to make it happen. C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business. They need to need you more than you need them, and that's when you get everything you want: the publishing deal, the label, the booking agency, the management company, blah blah, all the things. Okay, that's why we call it the Climb. That's creating leverage in the music business. That's a Baxter. That's from my good friend and co-host, lyricist, hit songwriter, Mr. Brent Baxter. He's got cuts from Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady A, Joe Nichols, couple number ones in Southern Gospel in the last 18 to 24 months, still making miracles happen. And he helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you write like a pro, do business like a pro, and then you need the relationship, and he ushers you into the room and gives you the opportunity to create relationships with the pros. You can find Brent at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny and Daredevil Production, they're breaking artists digitally by identifying new fans through data. Look, if you're an artist looking to increase your streams, blow up your video views, sell more live show tickets, and get discovered by new fans, TV, and music industry pros, then Daredevil Production can help. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production singular, no S, and there is no S because there is no other Johnny D.
What kind of show is this? What kind of program are you running over here, pal? Like, I don't know. It sounds like something that is completely my lane. Like, what? You're a good Christian man. You're married. You're like, what are you talking about right now? Sleep your way to the top.
That's right. So, well, yeah, y'all know me well enough by now that I'm probably not actually talking about like Shack It Up with the Producer, the A&R executive delaying your songs on records or something like that. I'm actually talking about like sleep. So, sorry to disappoint Johnny, but today we're actually talking about the importance of sleep and how burning the midnight oil is usually counterproductive to your creative endeavors.
Well, right on. Well, first, let's take care of a little business. Join the Climb community if you haven't done so. Go to facebook.com/groups/Climb community and ask to be let in. We let everybody in, but you have to ask first. And in there, we've got a place for you to post about your gigs, place for you to post about your music, new music you just dropped, place for you to post about your wins. We want to hear about it all. Just put it in the right place, guys. It's a fun community. It's singers, songwriters, indie artists, indie musicians, everybody supporting one another. We're getting co-write hookups in there. People getting marketing advice and different sort of, hey, I tried this and this worked, and I tried that and that worked. And it's a good resource for news. Whenever I find new stuff, I try to post it in the Climb community to share with them to see, so everybody can see what I see, what's going on, try to keep you informed. And by the way, wouldn't hurt you to read some of that crap I put in there because it's good for you. But anyway, what kind of wins we got today, buddy?
Yeah, a couple wins. So every Wednesday we post the New Heights post, and we encourage you to share your music-related wins in the comments so everybody knows where the party be. All right, so climber Dennis DeVilbus, who sent in a recent song title challenge title. So, hey, Dennis. He said, I found a local harmonica guitar player to perform with, and it really expands the sound of the things I do with the acoustic, guitar vocals. We're planning a Memorial Day concert down here in St. Helena. So this is, of course, at the time of this recording, this is right around Memorial Day. So we have that. So he's finding expanding his musical palette a little bit for his live stuff. And let's see what else we have here. Here's one from Todd Williams Jr. Says, I think for me, the biggest thing right now, a song I wrote on hit 70,000 streams here recently. So by far the most of anything I've written on, and I wrote it with the artist and with one of our other friends. So congrats, Todd Williams. Congrats, Dennis.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, man.
I know Todd.
Okay. So y'all just keep on climbing.
Right on. All right, guys. So listen, make sure you subscribe or follow the podcast, whatever platform you're on. Leave a rating and review on iTunes. And most importantly, tell a friend about it. If you're listening to this, if you're getting value out of it, somebody else can too. So help us help them. Help us help you help them. Right? All
Exactly. I think I followed that. Yes.
right. So
All
how do
right.
I sleep my way to the top? Like this is different than what I thought. This is not a Chelsea handler move.
No,
This
this
is
is not. So let me just preface this. We're talking about sleep, and I know it's not easy. Like, I know it's not easy to hold down a day job, to be a good parent, to be a good spouse, and to chase your songwriting or artist dream. There just aren't enough hours in the day or the night. It's easy to burn the midnight oil just trying to get stuff done because it feels like it'll never get done otherwise. Dude, I've been there. So believe me, with 5 kids, a dog, and a cat, there's always more to do. And like in a house we just moved into this year, and like, oh, it's warm. That's a different set of projects I wasn't aware of, that sort of thing. So I'm sure that whatever your situation, you feel much the same way. Like there's just not enough time. So I don't want to come off as insensitive to your situation. Basically telling people to get more sleep when you feel like it's impossible. No, I'm sharing this because I want you to succeed. I want that invite to your number one party. Okay. I want
yeah.
that. So basically, there's never going to be like enough hours in the day, right? There's always more you can do. There's always something else you can do. There's never enough hours in the day. So that really means we better make the best use of every hour of the day. Since there aren't enough of them, you got to really use every one of them. And this may be counterintuitive, but that actually requires probably more sleep than what you're getting. Johnny, I saw you yawn right then. This is for
Yep.
you, Johnny. So this actually requires more sleep. So my thesis is, and I think the science backs it up, that sleep pays for itself. Okay. It pays for itself, meaning what you lose in time, you make up for in productivity. And this is
Mhm.
simply because lack of sleep hurts your productivity. Johnny, are you midnight oil kind of guy? Are you
Um,
a I can sleep when I'm dead kind of guy?
sometimes, sometimes
Sometimes.
I'm not. Um, I mean, lately, I have been. This past month has been. I've got a launch coming up on June 20th.
Mhm.
That is, well, this will drop after June 20th, but
Yep.
it's I have, I've got content I got to get ready for that. Tech, I got to get ready for that.
Mhm.
Sales copy, I got to get ready for that. I've got my two main corporate clients that are pumping on all pistons, and my concert promoter just came back online with like
Mhm.
4 shows this month. And so there's all kinds of tech with that too, and ad creation. And
Mhm.
so I'm
Yeah, you're
over
busy.
freaking whelmed right now.
Yeah. And there's
Sorry.
Janelle.
I just had to vent.
That's okay. Yeah, I could tell that was coming up. That's coming. So, and you also have Janelle, right? Takes time.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has all these things that, and all those things are good things. Your girl, that's a good thing. Your
Yeah.
work, that means you're making money. You got clients, that's a good thing. All right. But that
Yep.
can come at, there's a cost to that as well. So I did a little bit of research on this. So, as the American Academy of Sleep and Medicine and Sleep Research Society explains in their position statement, I'm pulling from like articles and stuff, says
Nice.
sleeping less than 7 hours per night is also associated with impaired immune function, increased pain, impaired performance, increased errors, and greater risk of accidents. So the expert panel reviewed over 5,000 scientific articles before arriving at their final recommendations, one of which is that adults need at least 7 hours of sleep every night to be productive. So most of what I've seen online is like 7 to 9 hours for adults. And it says lack of sleep leads to problems that affect productivity in some of the following ways. And we'll dive into some of these here in a minute. But daytime fatigue and sleepiness. Let me sip my coffee. Mm. Poor concentration and focus. What was I talking about? Uh, Low motivation and energy. Lack of coordination. Oops, sorry, hit the mic. And that's going to sound terrible. I'm sorry, Ren. Lack of coordination and low mood and anxiety.
Don't edit
Keep
that
it
out, Ren.
yeah, keep that one in. So, all right. So, daytime fatigue and sleepiness, poor concentration and focus, low motivation and energy, lack of coordination, low mood, and anxiety. You think these may cost you productivity? Like, you think this may come back to bite you? So, let's dive into some of these. So, daytime fatigue and sleepiness. Like, I hate feeling foggy when like when I'm walking into a writing room or a writing Zoom. Like, I just don't feel clear when I've either not had enough sleep or I didn't have like good quality of sleep, even if was in bed for 8 hours, but I just, kids were up or
Mhm.
whatever. It just feels like thoughts are behind a curtain or that like I'm wearing the wrong prescription glasses. Like everything's just kind of foggy. Things just aren't as clear as they should be. And let me tell you, nothing tells your co-writer, I'm happy to be here and I totally respect your time, quite like yawning in the middle of them singing down the chorus. That is just that's money right there is what that is. That just really shows them that you care. So yeah, just fatigue and sleepiness. I'm one thing I try to, and I'm not great at, but the night before co-write, like, okay, my first step to having a good co-write is going to bed at a good hour the night before. Because I want to have that. I don't want to have that fatigue. I don't want to have that sleepiness. I don't want to walk in there and it's like, oh man, I'm foggy. I hope this wakes up. Hope the adrenaline kicks in, during the co-write. And usually, to an extent it does. But how much just sharper would I be and more fun? And we'll get into those. So just daytime fatigue and sleepiness. Poor concentration and focus. That's a big one because I mean, songwriting is all about concentration and focus. Like it's that
Mhm.
extra 10% of mental focus that is going to help you get your song that 2% better that makes 100% of the difference. I really have no idea what I just said, but had numbers in it. But you get what I mean, right? You get what
Yeah,
I mean? It's like that little extra bit of concentration, that focus to go, this like helps you stick with it long enough to realize that your second verse has like a logic gap in it or that it wanders off topic too much is those little things that you can catch that you wouldn't have caught before,
right.
or you catch them a lot faster instead of going down this road and going, oh, wait, that doesn't make sense because we didn't explain this other thing or whatever. It's your focus that's going to help you hang in there and hang on and push for that more interesting rhyme and not settle for good enough. There's a saying that fatigue makes cowards of us all, you know?
Yeah.
And I think with so much brain work is what writing is. It's pretty much all brain work that that just that lack of concentration and focus can, for one thing, wander off and you end up playing Candy Crush in the middle of that second verse or whatever. Or you just, I don't know, you're not in it all the way to win it, to really focus on this idea and stay on task. And so what happens, it maybe takes you longer to write that song. You miss errors and mistakes, things that didn't quite make sense until maybe much later, until after a day you've had good rest. And then you're like, oh my gosh, look at that. How did I not see that? Well, maybe because you didn't get a good night's sleep. Now you got to go back, fix something, maybe fix something on the work tape, all that kind of stuff that costs you time and sometimes costs you money too. So
This
that's a
makes
big
the
thing.
Holiday Inn commercial make so much sense to me.
What's a Holiday? Oh, I'm not an expert, but I did sleep at a Holiday Inn last night.
Yeah, I did sleep at
I
a
feel
Holiday Inn
smart.
Express last night. That's right. It's like I'm not a biological scientist, but, I did sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Can you
Right.
figure out this problem? Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's right.
So this stuff again, sleep pays for itself. I mean, I got a big write tomorrow. Am I staying up cramming? No, I'm gonna go to sleep, and so I can be more present when I'm there. Another big thing that it costs you productivity is low motivation and energy. I mean, come on, do I have to say anything else? Like we've all been there, right? There are times I just like stare at the laptop, like in a daze or a fog. I'm not working on a song idea. Like, I'm not even working on a podcast or anything. I'm just like staring into space and not even
Check
in that
your
help.
email, read a news story.
I'm not, I'm just
Uh,
staring. No,
yeah.
just staring. And I'm not even doing like the helpful daydreaming kind of staring. Like we all need that as creatives. We need like there's daydreaming that is productive time, right? I'm daydreaming. I'm thinking things. I'm feeling things. What? No, I'm just zoned out. Or it affects me by making me do and you just alluded to this, Johnny, by making me more likely to do the easy, mindless tasks instead of the more difficult but more important high leverage tasks that I could be doing. So, yeah, instead of putting in the work that can actually change my situation, I'm checking that email again and again and again, or I'm reading that article. That's thing. Oh, there's a video on Facebook of somebody like wait till the end. You won't believe what happens when we cook this thing, but they turn what should be a 3-second video into like a 25-minute video. You're like,
Yeah.
get with it. I'm not watching that stuff when I'm well rested and got my game on. Like it's when I
You're too
lack
motivated because
motivation
you're too like, you're bursting with ideas, and so you, like,
and
you're
I'm
excited
clear.
to get to them as opposed to avoiding them.
Yeah, and so one thing that kind of guards against that is when you have co-writes and you got to show up at 9 or 9:15 or 10 or whatever, and the other person's sitting there, so that helps. But especially when you're working on your own, like nobody's making you write a song. Nobody's making you sit down to I could play something, but I really don't want to tune my guitar. you know,
Yeah.
it just saps that motivation and energy. So you're less likely to even pick up the guitar at all or pick up the pen at all. You're going to go for the low hanging, fruit of like, I'll just scan through Facebook. What happened? I don't know what happened. I was on TikTok for like an hour. I don't know what happened. Like in the middle of the day, or you do it at night and that costs you sleep. That's a vicious cycle.
Mm.
So low motivation and energy. We all need more motivation. We all need more energy. All right. So sleep will help you get that. Now, here's an interesting one too that I don't think of as much as a lyricist, but it's lack of coordination. Like, for factory jobs and other things like that, accidents are more likely to happen if you're not well rested. But think about this. What about you guitar players and keyboard climbers out there? What if your grooves aren't quite as groovy as they could be? What if it takes you twice as long to lay down that work tape or the demo? That's wasted time. And if you're in the studio, wasted time is wasted money. So
I'll tell you
even
how that
that stuff.
manifests itself for me
Yeah, man.
is I'm, like, running into frickin' doors,
Right.
banging my head on the counter or just stupid because your awareness sorta disappears on
Yeah,
where
you're
you're
not.
at, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And, like, ugh, man, I've had a couple serious injuries, dude, like, seriously minor injuries, but, like, hurt, like, bruises or something because I just literally ran into a door, ran into the kitchen counter because 'cause I'm
Uh-huh.
not
You're
with it,
foggy.
man.
You're not there.
Stone cold sober,
Mhm.
I'm not intoxicated or anything, but just, like, because 'cause you're so tired, you're like, "Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. Ah!"
Yeah.
And you're just like then you're pissed off and
Exactly. And what are the residual effects of that? Of this little bit of that brain space that takes up? All that
Yeah,
kind of stuff that's like could have been prevented with a little bit more sleep. But you're talking about being, sober. But they've done all these studies. I'm sure many of you climbers out there have heard it, where they do sleep deprivation and then do driving tests, and they drive like drunks.
yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
scary. Like, drowsy driving is as bad as drunk driving.
yeah.
So, it matters. Your judgment goes, your coordination, and so think especially for, yeah, of course, if you fall down a flight of stairs, you're not getting much done that day, right?
No,
But
God forbid.
but gosh, but even if you're just, yeah, doing something technical, like working on your instrument, practicing, you're not gonna get as much out of it, you're gonna be more frustrated. If you're trying to lay down that work tape or start working on a track and you're just not quite your fingers aren't quite doing right, it has an effect on that too. So you lose that time. Again, sleep pays for itself and that time you get back and the productivity. So, and here's a big one. Low mood and anxiety. So lack of sleep leads to low mood and anxiety. So, I mean, this one can keep you from writing at all. So not even just, hurt your writing, like you just won't write. Because I noticed that I get more depressed and pessimistic when I'm tired. I call it depressimistic. Okay. Depressimistic. And those are the days of like the whole music industry climb seems insurmountable. Like it all feels hopeless. So why even pull out the guitar or the pen or the laptop? I mean, how uninspiring is that? Like everything seems worse. And
Yeah,
so the truth is that this business is going to bruise all of us repeatedly. And so we need as much emotional resiliency as possible. And a lot of that comes from sleep. And so furthermore, like if I'm grumpy, then I'm more likely to be a bad hang with my co-writers, right? And that'll make getting in the room with them again less likely. And it also makes me more likely to be a jerk to my wife, which then gets me in trouble, which leads to more emotional distraction and more, you know,
More exhaustion,
more
yeah.
exhaustion, exactly, or keep me up later worrying about like, "Oh,
Or having to
why did I
talk
say
about how
that?"
you were a jerk, and you're like, "Oh, I
I could
just
be at
want
the
to go
office right
home."
now being productive, but here I am just trying to get back to 0 with my
We need to
wife.
talk about why you were a jerk today, because I didn't get enough sleep, which I'm trying to solve right now, if you just let me go to sleep and not talk about how
Right.
much I was a bad boy.
Exactly. The best I
But
can't change what
that
I
never
did,
happens.
but right now, we're working on making me a jerk tomorrow too because 'cause you're keeping me up.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, but that's
but that
try
doesn't
as you
work.
might, you're
Yeah,
never gonna
so
sell that,
you already dug that hole, you gotta climb out of it. Yeah, and but, I mean, that's I've noticed that too, and I've heard other people talk about it, like, I start getting depressed, I start getting down, and people are like, "Maybe you just need a nap. Did you get enough sleep?" And I've noticed that with
yeah,
myself too, so if you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, again, depressimistic, try to get some sleep if you can, because that wears on everybody. And so just we need that emotional, resiliency. We need that, deposits in the gas tank for when we take those hits and those, we're on that climb and our hand slips and we, tumble down back to a previous level. We got to climb back up again. All that stuff happens for all of us. It's unavoidable. It's part of the climb. So you need to build that reserve. And a big
yeah,
way to do that is getting some more sleep. So if you're depressed, go to bed. I mean, of course,
I
there's also, too far the other extreme, right? Which we'll talk about probably a little bit on my next podcast. But um, so it's not like being lazy and that sort of stuff, stay in bed all the time. There becomes a law of diminishing returns where
yeah.
you got way more than you need. Now you're just being lazy and
You
you're
can sleep too much,
avoiding.
man, for sure, yeah,
Yeah, and it can be, the resistance, it can be avoiding the doing the difficult things, right? That can be a way of
yeah,
procrastinating. But this is like get what is healthy for your body. And here's another big effect of not sleeping enough: your health. So, like, I eat like trash when I don't sleep enough. Like, I want all the carbs and all the sugars all the time, like when I don't
yeah,
sleep enough. And when you eat junk, what happens? Like, you feel like junk. Like,
yeah.
I've heard that your body craves sugar and carbs because your body's trying to sucker you into a sugar crash, so you'll go back to sleep. And I don't know if
Oh,
that's
really?
true, but I'm
That's
willing to go with
interesting.
it. Like, give me the carbs, give me the sugars. Why? Because you're gonna get a sugar rush, crash, and go to sleep because that's really what you need. Okay, I'll give myself credit for
Interesting.
that. Yeah, but whatever the reason is, I wanna eat all the junk food,
Yeah,
like, when I've not slept well enough. I'm like, "I need fuel." No, that's
yeah,
trash fuel. That's not good stuff. That's a drag on the system. So,
yeah.
also, of course, that's gonna have other health, right? Like, you're just not gonna feel as well, you're gonna gain weight, which you don't feel as well then, all that stuff. Also, proper sleep helps your immune system, so it helps you to not get sick, and the fewer illnesses equals fewer canceled co-writes, or showing up anyway and not feeling your best or getting your co-writer sick, and they'll be mad at you for sneezing on their guitar pick, and whatever. So, I mean, how many days in the past, year have you had to cancel because of illnesses? Or just kinda trying to power through, but it's not what it could have been. I mean, that's time you lost. Was it worth it? I mean, I was watching a TED Talk last night when I should have gone to bed. But anyway, I was watching one last night on the sleep is your superpower, and they were talking about, like, how much of a hit your immune system takes over just, like, one night of, like, 4 hours of sleep. Like, your immune
Yeah.
system just drops. And so that's the thing, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're more likely to get sick, and then it's compounding the whole, "Wow, I'm not getting stuff done. This is all just a waste of time," right? I'm in a bad mood, now I'm sick, and I'm canceling a co-write, and I'm not writing today, all that stuff. So,
This
um,
happens to me all the time.
in what way?
Like,
Like, people canceling on you or you getting sick?
no, no, like, just so we burning the candle at both ends,
Mhm,
I'm working, whatever, 12, 14-hour days, and then I'm gonna go to a writing night, writer's night or something
mhm.
like that because that's business and pleasure, because I'm
Yeah,
hanging with friends and, Janelle and I are hanging out or whatever, but, um, I'll have a couple cocktails, I'm not getting, like, loaded or anything, but I'm drinking, you know what I
mhm.
mean? And, And lately now that I'm getting older, man, all of a sudden, like, my body will just shut down. It
Yeah.
happened this over Memorial Day weekend. Like, I had all this stuff I had planned that I had to do for Memorial Day weekend work,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden, I'm starting running a low-grade fever on Friday
Yeah.
night, you
Mhm.
know, and I'm feeling terrible. I'm exhausted, and so I go to bed early. I wake up, I feel better, and so I start to work, and I get about a half a day's worth of work done, and then that fever comes back, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, my body, it's been happening to me a couple times now where my body's like, "Nope,
Yeah, Johnny, I
you're
want you
we
to go to your
can't
room and
trust
think about what you've
you.
done.
We can't trust you to shut it down, so we're
Right.
gonna shut it down for you."
Yeah, your body put you in timeout.
Yeah,
Go to
yeah,
your room
and
and
all
think about
weekend,
what you've
like,
done.
it
Right.
was like, "Son of a bitch, man." Ah, like, I had to fight to get through some of the stuff that absolutely had to be done, like,
Mhm.
in my business. I did not work at all on my business,
Right.
and that's why.
Yeah, it cost us. It cost us that. Yeah. I mean, and how many times if you're in that fog, I wonder how many song ideas that you might have caught, like, in conversation or
Yeah,
on a headline somewhere,
point. Your
whatever,
antennas aren't up.
that, no, my antenna's not cranked up because I'm just kinda foggy, so nothing much like, how many great song ideas have you missed out on because 'cause you've stayed up and watched
Right, right, right. Oh,
that next
so think about it this
episode of
way.
Ozark or whatever your show might be.
Think about it this way. We just aired that Tim Nichols interview, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So imagine Tim Nichols is exhausted because he didn't sleep the night before when he walks into the room with Gary Wiseman, and
Craig,
Gary's
yeah.
like, "Yeah, man." They just start talking. He's like, "Yeah." It's like, this buddy of ours, like, "Did you hear what happened to him?" Yeah, he got like the wrong medical where like they switched his file. They screwed up his file with somebody else, and they told him he only had like weeks to live, and it was a
Yeah.
mistake. And I mean, can you imagine that? Oh. Yeah, anyway, what are we gonna write about? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, well, I got
and
the
then
title.
"Live Like You Were Dying" doesn't get wrote
Right.
because
Yeah,
he
I
was
mean,
tired.
because it's let's just say
Oh,
I got this other thing started. Let's go ahead and work that. That'll be a little bit easier
yeah,
because
so
fatigue
this
makes
brings us to the
cowards of
stupid
us
song.
all.
I
So,
mean, right?
yeah.
Oh, dude.
Or if they, what I heard on some of that is, like, Craig Wiseman will, like, he goes, like, "We're gonna keep going." So he'll be the, like, first one there and last one to leave. He turns the light, he'll sets the alarm both times, on and off, whatever. And so if you're just running that deficit, I mean, you're gonna be more likely trashed by the end of that, right? Like, "I'm done, I'm toast, stick a fork in me, I'm done," or you're not gonna stick around, or when he calls you, I got this other thing," like, "I just got home, Craig." "Yeah, but I got this idea for the 2nd verse." I'm just not picking up." You're
Yeah.
not as available. One thing, so I did a Know the Pro. It's one of the first ones I did with Songwriting Pro. So this was in the member archives if y'all wanna watch it if you're a member, with Jimmy Yeary, and who wrote, "I Drive Your Truck," "Why Wait for Rascal Flatts," "Anywhere with You," um, Jake Owen, "Everything's Gonna Be Alright" for Kenny Chesney and David Lee Murphy, all these hits, right? All these hits. And I called Mama for Tim McGraw, so just he's a great writer. And we talked about a lot about his process, and a lot of it is he takes good care of his health. Like, he's like, "I try to eat clean, I go exercise, I go run in the mornings, I do all this stuff, try to get enough sleep." Like, treats it like a sport. Like, I'm in
Yeah.
training because
Mental training, because you gotta be mental about it.
exactly. He's like, "I wanna be my best, my sharpest, most focused when I walk into the writer's room." And so
Yeah.
he does this whole thing, which I would recommend too, about eat healthy, exercise, get enough sleep. So we're focusing on sleep here, but all that stuff just helps you to be in a better mood. You know, it's a lot easier to write a song if you feel hopeful, right? And so if
Mhm.
you're feeling pessimistic, you're not going to pitch that song, or you're less likely to. And that might have been the pitch that worked because you're like, "Ah, I never hear anything back."
Or even get your sales full, like, in the writing room. You're like, that kinda sucks," or,
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just really
"Uh,"
just got to write with the artist.
instead of
Why are we
being like,
even
set at the
here?
springboard happen, like, "Oh, wait a second. What if we did this? What
Yeah.
if we said this?" And then you're just like, there, you're present, you're actually adding energy to the room instead of either being even
Mhm.
or worse, taking energy out of the
Right.
room.
Yeah, so it's super important. So, and that's just what I want to talk about. Better sleep leads to better mood. better concentration, better focus, better health, and ultimately better results for your music business. So, how do you get better sleep at night? There are a lot of resources for that online, although I might tackle that in another episode. I don't know. But let me know if you want me to dive into that. Hit me up in the comments when you drop this in the Climb community or anywhere you see it.
I got two things.
Yes.
One, so my sister, ER physician.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes she has to work she didn't have regular hours,
Mm-hmm.
Like some days she'll be working day shift, and then this whole weekend she's working night shift,
Mm-hmm.
Friday and Saturday night knife and gun club kind of a thing, right? So
Yeah.
so her sleep, she doesn't have a normal sleep schedule
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times with her job. So she has this it's melatonin spray
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
for your mouth.
Hmm.
And like 2 squirts, let me tell you something. Brother, you're out like a light. It shuts everything off,
Yeah.
in your head, shuts it all down. You get a good night's sleep. It's cool. And the second thing is, and I learned this from a guru, I can't remember who it was, but you know what? Like a 10, 15-minute cat nap
Mm-hmm.
in the afternoon
Power nap.
where you
Yeah.
just shut it down for like not too much,
Mm-mm.
not like a full on nap, but so a little cat nap does a whole lot to spring everything back in and
Mm-hmm.
rejuvenate for the last part of the day and stuff. So give that a shot.
Yeah, my wife has been on the melatonin kick for a while, so if we need to, may give a little bit to pinch off just a little bit. We do have like melatonin gummies and pills and stuff. You can get them at Walmart, wherever.
Yeah.
I try not to use those usually because by the time I go to bed, I don't have trouble going to sleep. But part of it is I'm just worried, like, if I keep giving it to my body in a pill or a spray, my body's like, sweet, don't have to make that anymore. you know?
Right.
And then if I don't have the pill, I'm like, oh my gosh, my body totally forgot how to make melatonin
You're hooked.
or melatonin. And
You got a
anyway,
monkey
yeah.
in your back.
So I save it for special occasions. Like when I make a trip to Nashville, yeah, I'll take some melatonin because I'm just hyped up the whole time I'm there and I'm working. It's going and going and going. My brain's already thinking about the next day and everything that just happened. I'm like, okay, I'll take one of these tonight.
I got to
Because
shut it
I need to
down.
get
Yeah.
why? Because I need to get sleep. Why? Because I need to be sharp tomorrow. So, but yeah, so we use some of that stuff. Power naps, blue blockers. They talk about turning off your screens an hour before bed, or
Mhm.
get like these blue blocker, glasses. I have some that just look like little readers or something. I forget to use them, but turn those on so it filters out like the daylight that we get from our screens and lights and stuff. So your brain can start going, okay, it's getting dark. It's going to bedtime. It's going to bedtime.
Right. So
So
your sleep cycle kicks in. Right.
exactly, your body starts getting ready for bed, for sleep before you get in bed and turn out the light. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. So if you want to hear some more, hit me up in the comments wherever you see this, and if enough of y'all are interested, then we can dive into it. So that's it. Get some sleep. Don't feel guilty about it because it's one of the most productive things you can do within reason, right? So, hey, I have a gift for you. It's over an hour of exclusive interviews with hit songwriters, producers, where they share insights and advice that will help you write like a pro, do business like a pro, and connect to the pros. Usually, only Songwriting Pro members have access to this stuff, but I've made just a little sliver of what we have going on there available to you for free. Yeah, it's free, and you can gain instant access to it at songwritingpro.com/preview. That's songwritingpro.com/preview. That's what I got for y'all today. So go get some sleep and don't feel bad about it.
All right, guys. Well, it brings us to the end of another Killer Climb episode. Make sure that you join the Climb community, leave a rating and review, subscribe or follow the podcast, and tell a friend about it. This podcast exists because we want you to win, so keep on climbing.
Actually, I'm going to say sleep on climbing, and we'll see you at the top.